They told you Machiavelli was a villain. They told you the prince was a dark relic of the past. They lied. They just didn't want you to have the map. You wake up. The world thinks it's Tuesday. You know it's a siege. The alarm cuts the dark like a blade. Your phone lights your face in cold blue. Before your feet touch the floor, the day is already mapped. Who needs approval? Who needs rescue? Who needs an enemy? You don't see people first. You see leverage points, fear signatures, and hunger patterns. You call it the architect's lens. This is not a history lesson. This is a simulation. Stay to the end, and you will stop hearing words and start hearing intent. By the end, you will know exactly which ally in your life is sharpening a blade, and how to turn that blade back toward them without saying a word. You dress for lethality, not comfort. Your shirt isn't cloth, it's policy. Your watch isn't style, it's timing. Your shoes aren't fashion, they're sound design. You choose what the court will see before you arrive. Clean lines, no noise, no apology. In Florence, men wore silk to signal bloodline. In this city, they wear logos to signal borrowed power. You wear restraint. Restraint scares them because they cannot calculate it. In the mirror, you don't build confidence. Confidence is for people still asking permission. You calibrate the mask. Today, the court needs you composed, sharp, and unhurried. Precise, not theatrical. You test your expression the way a general tests steel. No excess emotion around the eyes. No tension in the jaw. Mouth neutral. Breath controlled. The face says, "I have seen this game before." A line from your old world rises with the steam from your coffee. Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. 500 years, same species. Only the costumes changed. You step into the street and let the commute become reconnaissance. The subway exhales metallic heat, wet concrete, cheap cologne, burned espresso from a kiosk that opens too early and closes too late. Fluorescent lights hum like insects above a moving hive. Perfume collides with brake dust. A child cries 2 cars down, then sleeps against a stranger's coat. An ad screen flashes words like freedom and upgrade while tired faces stare through it. Everyone is moving fast, and almost no one is steering. You scan without staring. A man in a fitted suit taps his foot 20 times in 30 seconds. Over-leveraged, too much debt, not enough certainty. A woman rehearses a smile in the black reflection of the train window, desperate for acceptance before 9 o'clock. 2 interns whisper and laugh too loudly, then go silent when a manager enters the car. Future courtiers, already learning fear before strategy. Across from you, a quiet analyst grips his bag with both hands and watches exits at every stop. Dangerous. Not because he is powerful today, but because he is hungry and patient. Look at him. Most see a nervous employee. You see the rule of the fox. When someone studies exits, they are studying weakness. If you meet him in your court, never fight him in public. Feed him space, then wait for him to trip over his own hunger. You catalog all of it. The world screams for attention. You stay quiet. That silence is your first weapon. Most people spend mornings negotiating with mood. You negotiate with the way the room is built. You count who owes whom, who is cornered, who can be moved with praise, and who only moves when cost appears. By the time the train doors open, your map is complete. You check your phone once. No news alerts, no emergencies. Good. The obvious war is quiet. The hidden war is on schedule. In your outbox sits a draft email with no recipient yet. Subject line, dependency risk log. You wrote it at 1:12 a.m. It contains names, timestamps, message snapshots, and one clean recommendation. It gets sent only if a specific trigger appears. At the building entrance, revolving doors spin people into polished marble and controlled temperature. Security smiles without seeing anyone. Elevators swallow ambition floor by floor. You catch your reflection one last time in brushed steel. Mask calibrated. Pace slow. Pulse invisible. A sovereign mind does not chase. It arranges. The elevator doors open, and corridor noise hits like distant artillery. Keyboards. Laughter that is too bright. Printers coughing paper. Shoes on tile. Names spoken like bids in an auction. The court is already in session. The office isn't a workplace. It's a Renaissance court with better lighting. The boss sits where princes sat, at the intersection of money and fear. Direct reports form factions. Project leads trade loyalty for access. Human resources plays the church, blessing what serves order. The meeting room is the throne room. Glass walls, projector hum. 12 chairs, each occupied by a future witness. Your deck is loaded. Data clean. Risks flagged. Timeline realistic. You begin with clarity, then pause. That pause is deliberate. In silence, hierarchy reveals itself. Right on cue, betrayal arrives wearing a smile. Strong work, your colleague says, voice silky, too polished. I just worry this approach may be a little optimistic for our current capabilities. Polite sabotage, wrapped in a compliment. Your colleague smiles. The mask under your skin wants to twitch, to sneer, to defend. You don't let it. You lock your face into bored curiosity. The over-explained praise in their opening line, the slight tremor in their left hand against the conference table, the eyes flicking around the room, checking whether anyone else will join the attack. Not conviction, panic. You feel the room recalibrating. Some people lean back to avoid blast radius, others lean forward for entertainment. One person starts typing notes too aggressively, hoping neutrality can be documented. Inside your head, the clock slows. You identify the move in real time. They're not critiquing the plan. They're transferring their own fragility onto your execution. If the room accepts that frame, you become reckless, and they become prudent. Old trick, cheap trick, it still works on amateurs. You choose the fox. One sentence, surgical. If concern is capability, let's list which team dependencies you believe are unstable, and who owns each one today. No accusation, no heat, no defense, just a spotlight. Now the burden returns to its owner. Their smile holds 1 second too long, then cracks at the edges. They start speaking, restart, and offer abstractions. Bandwidth, cross-functional complexity, nothing specific. And there it is, under your ribs a cold, satisfying clarity. The architect's lens is working. The room notices. Silence follows. It's not empty, it's loaded. This is the sound of factions updating their math. Your boss finally leans forward and breaks the freeze. Fine, she says. Direct question. If this fails, what do you cut first? And who carries the cost? Unexpected, public, no time buffer. You answer without rushing. I cut scope once, not by inches. Optional features go in one move this week, not a slow bleed across 4 teams. I carry the political cost in this room, and owners keep shipping. The principle is old. When pain is necessary, deliver it clean and early. Never stretch it into theater. Your colleague tries one more angle. I'm only trying to protect the team from avoidable risk. You nod once. Good. Then protect them with concrete risk statements, not atmosphere. No spike in tone. No emotional leak. In your chest, your pulse is steady. In their throat, dry. A line surfaces in your mind like old iron. A prince who is not wise himself cannot be well advised. They revealed their panic. You revealed nothing. The boss closes it. Continue with the plan. Add a dependency appendix by Friday. You nod. The appendix will be exactly what she asked for, but between the lines of data, you will bury the one metric that makes your colleagues' future participation impossible. They won't see the trap until they're already inside it. Verdict delivered, not total victory. Better than that, legitimacy. As discussion moves on, you track micro-signals. A chair shifts away from your colleague. A senior manager stops including them with quick eye contact. Someone who was neutral now asks for your assumptions directly. Influence is moving. You answer every question with measured brevity. No over-explaining, no celebration. When pressed, you return to facts. When challenged, you ask for specifics. When complimented, you nod and move on. The projector throws pale light across faces that just lost certainty. Someone clicks a pen, then stops when it sounds too loud. The air vent rattles above the ceiling tile. A calendar reminder chirps from an unattended laptop and gets silenced instantly, like a witness correcting posture under scrutiny. By the end, your slides are no longer the main event. Your frame is. Meeting adjourns. Chairs scrape the floor. Laptops close like shields. People leave in small clusters, already rewriting what happened in language that protects their position. In the doorway, your colleague gives you one final smile, teeth visible, eyes absent. You return a courteous expression, no more, no less. In courts, humiliation creates revenge cycles. You never feed one for free. The meeting ends, the war doesn't. The hallway light is low, amber, flattering. It makes hard conversations feel human. A senior colleague catches up near the corner window, easy smile, lowered voice, conspiratorial posture. "That was excellent," they say. "You handled that perfectly. We need more people like you in strategic planning." Praise his invitation, door half open. You thank them. They shift closer, hand briefly on your shoulder. "We're pulling together a tighter group for next quarter. Off-book coordination, real decision velocity. You'd fit." There it is. Not admiration, recruitment. In any court, alliances are mortgages. You get belonging up front, payment comes later. You run the calculation instantly. If you join their faction, you gain short-term cover, faster information, maybe budget access. In exchange, you inherit their enemies, their blind spots, and their future scandals. Allies are leverage until they become liability. You learned this before modern glass towers existed. Caesar was not killed by enemies at the gate. He was killed by men who stood close enough to whisper. And in Rome, the optimats and populares taught the same lesson in a different costume. Public civility in the Senate, private knives through prosecutions, debts, and faction deals. Betrayal rarely starts as shouting. It starts as alignment. You don't reject them. Rejection creates certainty, and certainty hardens opposition. You engage strategically. "I appreciate the trust," you say. "I'm focused on execution right now. If priorities line up, I'm open to advancing outcomes." Warm, respectful, non-binding. They test again. Understood. Still, it helps to know who is serious when things shift. You hold eye contact and let half a beat of silence pass. "Serious is easy to verify," you say. "Watch who ships under pressure." You give them something they can repeat, without giving them your allegiance. Their expression brightens. They feel seen, maybe even chosen, but they got no promises they could hold you to, no private intelligence, and no emotional debt marker. This is the art to leave people feeling closer to you than they actually are. They offer coffee soon. You agree in principle, undefined timeline. They mention a private group chat. You smile and say you keep calm simple during delivery cycles. True enough to be defensible, vague enough to stay free. As they walk away, you replay the interaction like a chess sequence. What did they seek? Predictability. What did you provide? Pleasant ambiguity. Most people fear neutrality because it feels lonely. You value it because it preserves mobility. In factional systems, fixed pieces are the first to be sacrificed. Variables are the only ones who survive the transition. You stay a variable. You continue down the corridor past framed mission statements and stage photos of collaboration. Every organization praises teamwork in public and rewards power literacy in private. At the elevators, two junior staff whisper, then straighten when they see you. Good. Your behavior is being studied. Let it be hard to imitate. Doors open. Mirror walls. Muted music. In reflection, you spot the handprint from that shoulder touch still ghosting your jacket fabric. Small signal, big meaning. What they were really asking wasn't join us. It was become legible, become ours. You brush the shoulder once and let the mark disappear. Court politics rewards people who can be friendly without being owned, available without being absorbed, respected without being captured. When two factions fight for your signature, refusal becomes leverage. They have to sharpen their logic and show their desperation. The one who commits too early loses options. Ground floor. Doors slide open. Noise rises again. The court has many rooms. At dusk, one of them is a bar. The weight of the mask starts pressing into your temples. This is the tax of the architect's lens. You are never off the clock because the court never stops watching. After hours, the bar glows in warm reds and amber gold, a place where people choose which truths to tell. Ties loosen, heels come off under tables. Laughter thickens with every round. Music blurs nuance just enough for plausible deniability. This is where modern courts pretend to be friendships. You arrive late on purpose. Never first, never last. A cluster from work waves you over. You greet each person by name, controlled warmth. Eye contact long enough to register respect, short enough to avoid invitation. Drinks land, stories inflate. Harmless gossip mutates into soft intelligence exchange. Then the trap shows itself. A colleague leans in, voice confidential. Between us, the boss is spiraling right. Total chaos upstairs. Honestly, I don't know how much longer this place can run like this. There it is. Fake friendship used as a trap. If you agree, you are tagged as loyal to their emotional camp. If you defend leadership too hard, you are tagged as naive or political. If you go silent awkwardly, you are tagged as suspicious. This isn't confession. It's an audit. They are testing what you will betray when you feel included. You choose strategic civility. You nod with measured empathy. Pressure is high across the board, you say. Everyone's carrying more than they show. Warm enough to feel human, neutral enough to reveal nothing. They push further. Sure, but come on, you see it. Decision quality is dropping. You take a small sip, keep your voice calm. Then our edge is execution discipline, you reply. Noise increases, standards matter more. No gossip, no names, no operational details. They still feel heard because you mirrored emotion without joining the narrative. Around you, the room gets louder. Glasses knock, ice cracks. A song from 10 years ago triggers nostalgic shouting from a nearby table. Alcohol loosens masks and people begin confessing what they should protect. One manager complains about budget constraints in front of 3 people who should not hear it. An analyst jokes about interviewing elsewhere and thinks it sounds like confidence. Someone complains about politics while actively building a coalition at the bar. You watch the lion and fox play through you in real time. Fox on the surface, smiling, attentive, socially fluent. Lion underneath, boundaries that don't negotiate. Then pressure shifts. A shot glass gets pushed toward you by a laughing director. Come on, strategist, one real answer tonight. Who do you actually trust here? The glass is cold. The whiskey smells like wood and safety. For half a second, the mask slips. You feel the heavy pull to just be a colleague, to laugh, to complain, to belong. Then you feel the tax again, the weight in your temples. You tighten the bolts. You raise the glass, touch it to theirs, and set it back down untouched. I trust behavior over speeches, you say. The table laughs. The question dies. A different colleague slides over, half laughing. You're impossible to read. Are you always this diplomatic? You let the question breathe. I prefer precision, you say. They laugh, unsure whether they were complimented or warned. Inside, your calculus is simple. Being liked is a lease. Being respected is ownership. Likes expire with mood, trend, and rumor. Respect compounds when your behavior stays coherent under pressure. You're not here to be liked. You're here to become difficult to exploit. Another round appears. You decline the shot, keep water nearby, remain present. Sobriety in social chaos is an intelligence advantage no one applauds in real time and everyone notices later. A young associate starts venting about a teammate with too much detail, then pauses and asks, "You've seen this before. What would you do?" You offer principle, not ammunition. Document facts. Address directly. Keep emotion out of channels you don't control. Useful, unquotable against you. As minutes pass, you see faction lines forming in who laughs with whom, who touches whose arm, who keeps checking phones, who leaves the table to take calls and returns with altered mood. Courts have always used wine to accelerate revelation. Near midnight, the same colleague who probed you earlier circles back one last time. "Good talking tonight," they say. "We should sync privately." You smile. "Send times next week." Possible, not promised. You settle your tab before the group asks for one more round. Always leave before the room tilts from candid to reckless. At the door, cold air cuts through bar heat and resets your senses. Behind you, laughter spikes again, then blurs into street noise. You walk toward the train with coat collar up, mind clear, notes already forming. The gala wasn't social recovery, it was field work. You leave before they do. Always. Night should end the game. It doesn't. In bed, lights off, phone glow paints the ceiling in pale white. Notifications stack like sealed letters from rival houses. A group thread you were active in all week suddenly launches a side discussion without you. A passive-aggressive comment appears under your project update. Impressive pace. Hope quality doesn't get lost in the speed. No direct attack, no direct target. Just enough ambiguity to invite interpretation and spread whisper energy. The digital court is Florence with algorithms. Anonymity makes people bolder and sloppier. You don't react at first contact. You observe pattern. Who liked the comment within 60 seconds? Who viewed your message and stayed silent? Who moved to private chat right after public ambiguity? Patterns reveal structure. Structure reveals fear. Most people answer digital provocation emotionally and donate evidence against themselves. You answer by changing the structure. You reposition your visibility first. A concise follow-up lands in the main thread. Next, milestone, measurable criteria, owner list, deadline. You don't mention the jab. You only offer clarity. Then you preserve receipts, screenshots time-stamped, context saved. Not for vengeance, for sequence control if escalation appears. You redirect everything to process. A private note goes to the key stakeholder. To keep quality signal high, I've attached validation checks and dependencies for review. Now the arena shifts from personality to structure, exactly where you're strongest. Hours later, the same commenter backpedals with a cheerful emoji and didn't mean anything by it. Of course, when aggressors realize you won't fight in fog, they retreat to deniability. You let it stand. No public correction ritual. No victory lap. In digital courts, restraint is compound interest. Every controlled response raises your perceived stability. Every impulsive response taxes it. The whisper campaign keeps moving in tiny loops. A reaction emoji here, a vague joke there. You track it like a hunter watching tracks in the mud. The same 3 names liking each other's posts. The same 2 accounts staying quiet until a crowd forms. Their network isn't big, it's just loud. Then the trigger appears. One of the same 3 names quietly tags an executive and frames your delivery pace as a quality risk, exactly as predicted. You open the outbox draft from Dawn. Dependency risk log. Inside it, timestamps of delayed approvals, quoted messages, request response gaps, and a clean recommendation that shifts accountability to process checkpoints owned by the loudest critic. No insults, no emotion, no blame language, just their own words, in order. You frame it as a process optimization update, not a complaint. You are not attacking a person, you are fixing a system. You add 1 recipient, then 2. You hit send. That is how you turn a blade without saying a word. You let their pattern testify against them. You mute the noisiest thread and keep direct channels with decision makers only. Access is architecture. If a corridor breathes smoke, you close the corridor. You scroll once more, not for approval, but for intelligence. Who fears your pace? Who fears your precision? Who recruits through exclusion? Crowds online don't grant truth. They reveal pressure points. You lock the phone. Darkness returns. The court sleeps. You plan. The day is over. Nothing was left to chance. They mistook your silence for weakness, your civility for softness, your patience for passivity. That is the edge they never see coming. Machiavelli did not survive because he was the strongest man in the room. He survived because he was the most aware. Awareness wins before force begins. If this changed how you read people, subscribe. If you want the next simulation, watch the next video. The world teaches obedience. We teach architecture. Learn the room, master the frame, and carry your power where noise cannot touch it. Never confuse noise with authority.